What's going on, Omnibuddies? Mitch here, and today we are doing another overview. What are we looking at? We are looking at one of the greatest, hugest spanning universes out there that is just self-contained. It's not bleeding into other character stuff like craziness, but it's all right there, and you can jump in mostly at any point. It is insanely well done. It is Mike Mignola's Mignolaverse. Today we are looking at a part of that universe. We are looking at the pulpy superhero, Lobster Johnson. All right, so like I said before, this is from the Mignolaverse. So Lobster Johnson is like the crazy Nazi fighting, mystery solving action superhero in that universe that Hellboy actually like idolizes, and I think he does meet at a few points throughout the Hellboy, BPRD, Young Hellboy universe stuff. But Lobster Johnson is this crazy cool pulpy superhero, and the Volume 1 Omnibus, is this Volume 1? This is 2. This is 2. The Volume 1 Omnibus and Volume 2 just came out a little while ago, and so I finally read through both of them. Absolutely destroyed both of them super quickly. I think I read both of them in less than a week, which, if you know me, I'm a pretty slow reader, and I don't read books that fast, but dang, I tore through these. Let's stop talking about them like this. Let's lay them out on the table and take a look at them and talk about the stories and why they're so good. All right, so here we have Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Lobster Johnson from the Mignolaverse. So this contains not everything, but a vast majority of the Lobster Johnson tales. So here is the spines. Are the spines? Not is the spines, whatever. So we got two really nice matching spines by Dark Horse. Here are the backs. These both retail for $39.99 USD. But if you can find them through OPB or other places, you could probably find them cheaper. Volume 1, I think, is kind of getting hard to find, so yeah. But let's get into it. So this is the inside, which is very typical of the Dark Horse Mignola books. They all kind of have this foil stamping inside, very similar. Black end pages, end sheets, and then so it's stories by Mike Mignola, John Arcudi, and Tansi Zonjic, and a lot of art by a lot of different people. But it all flows together. What's great about the Mignolaverse is most of the art is all very Mignola, which is super cool. It doesn't change by the artist. They all have their own kind of twist, imitation, but it's all very similar. So there's not this big jump between artists that's super noticeable. So that's super cool. So this is, about 380 some pages of story, and then the remainder is sketchbook stuff and extras. So you have the empty chair, burning hand, caput mortuum, Satan smells a rat, Tony Masso's finest hour, a scent of lotus, a prayer of Nefuro, and Get the Lobster. So this is super cool, pulpy comics. It was very much Mignolaverse meets Rocketeer, has that great mystery and that pulpy action feel to it. So it gets right into it where you right away meet like some gangsters, bad guys, and you meet the Claw, you meet Lobster Johnson, and they immediately, as you can see, where'd it go? The first page, you see the brand right there, his brand, and he immediately brands him on the forehead. So that's kind of his thing. When you meet the Claw as a bad guy, you get the Claw and you get branded. Very cool. Really interesting stories in where they go, and some interesting, it's one of those like where the technology is, of the day, but it's also super advanced. And it's really cool, like with the detective noir style, and how he's got that like Batman thing, going on where, he appears out of the shadows and he fights from the rooftops. But then he also meets some special characters who are, immune to his normal, his normal way of doing things, of, shooting and taking names and branding people. Very cool. The stories start small and then they slowly build on each other. And, some of them aren't necessarily totally connected, but they give you good character and interesting development that way and introduce new characters. And then they are brought into the fold of the story, which is super fun, that you get to see, some of this book is super gruesome too, as you saw that guy melting and that guy like rotting. So very cool to see how like these characters are brought into the fold. The kind of love interest news reporter and how she's in here and introduced, and then why how she gets pulled into the fray with the Claw, and how the whole team works together. I did not know this, but the Claw has a team that he works with. It's super fun, and they all have really good characterization and really cool interactions with him. Almost, they're the support team, but man, they do a lot, which is super cool to see. And I love that when the team's not just there and always, they're supporting him, but they are doing a lot more than just support. They are integral to the team, to the detective aspects of the mystery and things like that. And man, these stories slowly build, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. There's supernatural, there's superhuman kind of forces, and then, it's jumping around a little bit. Man, it gets so cool. I love this book. It reads super fast too. I mean, there's a decent amount of dialogue, but it reads really well, really smoothly. Never get lost in the paneling. So it's, pretty basic panel structure. There's nothing really ever too crazy that goes on, but it is a lot of fun, and they definitely are not afraid to go nuts with some things. Obviously, gory, people's arms getting ripped off, but also like giant gorilla with robot arms. I mean, come on. And then, of course, he fights the Nazis. So gotta love that when he's punching them out. So really cool story. Obviously, it ends well. I don't want to show the last page. And then goes into all about, extras and about the characterizations and building the scenes out and just all the background stuff. Very cool to see. I love panel progressions and character art as they're designing them. Very fun. And then, man, Mignola's art's just so good. So good. I mean, just crazy, kooky characters that are very interesting and always fun, and very much pulls you into the action. Loved this book. And what's great is you don't need to know much. Whoa. You don't need to know much about the Mignolaverse to enjoy this. Just that he's kind of the fabled superhero of the Hellboy universe, the Mignolaverse. So then you have volume 2, which honestly, just as good, very fun, and it just continues on. And yeah, it's got even more. It's got about 400 pages of story in this one. So this one actually, I feel like, has more ongoing story that's more interconnected than volume 1. So and it's also, I feel like, more colorful. So that's kind of cool. Kind of a change up, and obviously the art's a little bit different here compared to the normal Mignolaverse art that you get. But I think this one has more supernatural in it too. So it's more supernatural, more interconnected, and then gets way more sci-fi too, with obviously like giant robots and crazy, like not necessarily steam powered, but like, yeah, kind of like a cyberpunk almost giant robots thing going on, with crazy sci-fi nutso stuff happening, and then people being contorted and all kinds of craziness. I really dug this book. It was really fun. I think I I think it was actually better than the first one. The first one was very fun and a great setup to the characters and the teams. And then this one took it to a whole new level and just kicked it up a notch and had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing it, or reading it, not doing it. I had a lot of fun reading it. Oh man, just kind of flipping through really quick so y'all can get a taste of the art. And then I do love how they do the true history of Lobster Johnson, you know, in here, and you know, at the end of a lot of the chapters and issue numbers and stuff. Really nice little breaks. I like when they do that. It's not just an image, but they do a little extra in there. Did they do it on that one? Nope. So not on every one, but yeah. And then you have a ton of extras. I mean, let's get back to the beginning of those extras, about right there, I think. Yeah. So I mean, you're seeing a fair amount of extras in here. Not overdoing it, but definitely enough to be worth it, where it's not just cover art gallery, but actually has a lot of really nice extras in there with the paneling and layouts and you know, like just inking to pencils to inks to color, and yeah, oof, super cool. Really well done. I love this book. If you're at all interested in some pulpy action, if you've read Mignolaverse, you don't need to have read the Mignolaverse, which is super nice. You can just jump right into this knowing that he's kind of the pulpy action superhero of the Mignolaverse. But that's all you really need to know. And you don't even need to know that. You wouldn't even need to know that this is connected to Hellboy in the slightest. It's really fun. All right, so that was the quick overview of Lobster Johnson volumes 1 and 2. Man, are those books cool. I had so much fun. I love the Mignolaverse just because, I mean, yeah, if you look at the books in the reading order, definitely go check out like Multiversity, which has a updated, they do like yearly updated reading orders of any kind of way you're going to read it, whether it's single issues, hardcovers, trade paperbacks, library editions, all that kind of stuff. But they have the entire Mignolaverse reading order, always updated in order. Maybe I'll do an overview reading order for that too. And then Hellboy Monster Size Edition just dropped too, so you can grab that and get a really great sense of that scale, well, the scale of that book, but yeah, but a really good intro into the Mignolaverse. But man, that universe is so cool. Like, you have the pulpy action heroes, you have like the Witchfinder and Baltimore series that are kind of tied in, and you don't actually have to read them to enjoy the Mignolaverse. You don't even have to read most of the Mignolaverse to jump into those and read those. They just kind of, you see different elements weaved in and out of them, and they just add to the entire just universe and the lore, and just add backstory and history, and it is so fleshed out and so great. But if you're looking for like a pulpy action hero that you can just jump into and not have to worry about the Mignolaverse, jump into Lobster Johnson. You can check out some like paranormal, supernatural, witchcrafty stuff with Witchfinder. Baltimore's got kind of that going on, almost a combo. Really cool stuff. So definitely check out Lobster Johnson Volume 1 and 2. Volume 1 might be kind of hard to find right now. I think Volume 2 is relatively easy to find since it just came out. But you don't even need to read Volume 1 to read Volume 2. They're both very self-contained and they don't really affect each other overall. So yeah, definitely check them out. Really cool. You can support the channel by hitting up Organic Price Books. Use code Omnibuddy, $2 off every order. If you're ordering 4 or more books, you can use Omnibuddy Ship It Together as the code and get 5% off your entire order. So if you want to order a whole bunch of Mignolaverse stuff and take like get a little taste test going, use that code. Support my channel, support OPB, great stuff. But yeah, Dark Horse is absolutely killing it with the Mignolaverse. So definitely go check it out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification, do all those things. But the most important thing to do is comment. If you've been reading the Mignolaverse, what is your absolute favorite Mignolaverse book out there? I think mine so far is Witchfinder. Really loved that book. Really love that series. There's 1 and 2 Omnis. I mean, Hellboy overall is great. BPRD is insanely good. But yeah, the whole thing's great. So what's your favorite Mignolaverse book? And if you haven't read any of the Mignolaverse, what's your favorite universe outside of like the big two, DC and Marvel? What's your favorite universe? Is it like Invincible, or is it Usagi Yojimbo, or is it like the Terry Moore verse, or what's your favorite universe that's kind of multiple stories, multiple books, all kind of that culminate and revolve and intersect at some points? Let me know in the comments. Love talking with y'all. All right, take care, stay cool.